Welcome. My name is Robert Cheppens. I'm the CEO of Champion Personnel. We are a flexible talent acquisition and consulting firm in Cleveland, and today my guest is Michael Ryan from M. Ryan Group. Michael is an inventory iceberg crushing specialist. In other words, if you have a manufacturing company and you're kind of looking around for some money, Michael can show you where to get it. And it's not in the areas you might think. So Michael, you do that for companies. You have proven that you can put cash up back into the balance sheet so a company can use it for operations, sales, marketing. How do you do that? Give us some examples.
Well, Robert, thank you for having me. One of my favorite examples is a CEO that brought me in. And the first thing he says is, my inventory is always wrong. I said, okay, can you give me a little bit of color? He says, you want color? I'll give you color. Clickety clack, turns his monitor around. He says, this is an email from our biggest customer. Read this. It says, Peter, you stink. We gave you this purchase order 60 days ago and you still can't deliver.
Ooh.
If you keep this up, we're going to find another supplier. I said, okay, that's some color.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he says, I want to stop getting emails like this.
Right.
Can you help me? I said, absolutely. And what we found out was, in effect, it was a pebble in a pond, that transactions, processes that weren't being followed on the production floor were rippling through the entire process and causing their inventory to be wrong. So when a customer placed an order and somebody in the warehouse went to grab that product off the shelf, it wasn't there. And figuring out something isn't there when you go to reach for it is the worst time to figure out that you've got an inventory problem. And ultimately, the solution was a combination of people, process, and technology. And in the first quarter, we saved that business $271,000.
They welcomed that, or did they say that's too much or not enough?
They welcomed it. I mean, after all, cash is king.
Yeah.
And being able to find cash that in a lot of cases, Robert, is literally and figuratively hidden in plain sight. That's
forest for the trees.
Forest for the trees.
You got great people, you've got apparently great processes, but somehow something's hidden underneath.
Exactly.
And your job is to go in and find it.
It is. And it's by having conversations much like this to hear what the symptoms are and then sit down with the people, whether they're in finance, operations, supply chain, sales and marketing, and collect information to help paint a picture, to say, hey, here's what this looks like today. Here's where we're feeling the pains. Here's maybe why we're feeling these pains. And then going and understanding where the gaps are.
Sure.
And in what ways we can close that gaps. And ultimately, I mean, the bottom line is what it's worth to the business.
Similarities in business. We can go into a client, which we have done many, many times over our 56 years. They've got turnover issues, retention issues, hiring issues. We go in, forest for the trees. We can tell them either what they're doing right and they need to increase it, what they aren't doing correct, or what they're not doing, period.
Right.
And we've been able to, much like you, being able to produce cash flow, we've been able to, let's say, quell the turnover within companies to the point where they go from over 200% turnover down to single digit. That's what we specialize in. So it's very, very similar.
It is.
One of the good reasons we get along so well.
Well, right. We work with people and process and technology.
Right.
And
same here.
And I know, I mean, that's one of the ways that we bring value to our clients, is because we come in, we're an outside pair of eyes, we're unbiased, and we truly want to help our clients, right? Our role is to be a guide. And ultimately, it's our clients who we want to hold up as the hero, right? It's their business and we want them to succeed.
Now, how would a company know they might have an issue in inventory to bring you in?
So there's a couple ways. One is external. So if the CEO, the VP of sales are getting calls from angry customers, if the VP of operations is seeing back orders going through the roof, that's a pretty good sign there's an inventory problem.
Okay.
On the internal view, when the CFO is looking at the balance sheet and sees that all their working capital is tied up in inventory, so inventory is up, cash flow is down, that's a pretty good sign that there's probably an opportunity to harvest some cash out of the inventory.
Now, how would people get a hold of you if they think they might have an issue?
The best way to get a hold of me is through my website, mryangroup.com, or they can also find me on LinkedIn. My tagline on LinkedIn is I solve problems.
Or just get a hold of me at Champion Personnel. I'll give you Mike's number.
Right.
Thank you for appearing with me today, Michael.
Thanks for having me, Robert. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.